Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna Schmidt and I am a paranormal clearing specialist. I work as a house healer and I also love to educate people about all aspects of spirituality and psychic development. And today we're going to be talking about a rather difficult topic. I've been thinking about making this video for quite a while, and it's taken me a long time to formulate the words, the language that I want to use so that I can convey the message to you about possession without people going into fear about them, without them starting to worry or think that they are possibly possessed. It is a very, very relevant topic to the society that we live in. As an energy clearer and a paranormal specialist, I'm finding now in 2022 that I am dealing with more and more cases of what I deem to be possession. And that is people who have more than 10 demonic level beings present in either their physical body, chakras, meridian lines, or their energy field, or all through those 4 different areas of our human body, our human energy field. So there's going to be no bells, whistles, no jump scares, no crucifixes or holy water that we're going to be talking about today. This is totally realistic from the experiences that I have had with my clients who I would class as having possessive behaviors, and the number of energetic beings that were present within them. Now, all of these clients have returned to a relatively normal state of being once these paranormal beings are removed, but they do need their doctor and mental health care from mental health professionals because of the detrimental and infiltrating effects that demonic level beings have on people's physical bodies and on their minds specifically. Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to be talking about what possession is, what possession is not, and some of the signs and symptoms that I have found through the work that I have been doing over these many years. So before I start an energetic clearing for any of my clients, I always recommend that they see their doctor and their mental health professional, because the signs and symptoms of paranormal influence can cross over into lots of different medical and mental health signs and symptoms. So if my clients come back with a clean bill of health from their doctor and their mental health professional, then I will start an energetic clearing for a client. So let's look at what is possession. Possession is a term that I use for when a vulnerable person has been infiltrated by demonic level beings, because they never travel alone, so there's always more than one. And when I say infiltrated, we are energy beings in a physical body. So these paranormal beings, whether they're dark or demonic level beings, can actually enter into your physical body, your chakras, your meridian lines, or your energy field. Or they can be in all of those places at once, which I have found in some of my clients. So when I say vulnerable, what do I mean by that? We are all vulnerable in different ways. Some of us are mentally vulnerable, emotionally, physically, sexually, spiritually. I'm finding that vulnerability has so many different aspects of us that can be vulnerable. Now, these paranormal beings are all attracted to different types of vibration. So we're talking demonic level beings today. So that is the term I'm going to use. So don't be frightened of the word. Don't think about what you've seen on TV, what you've seen in the movies. That is not a good representation of the energies that I'm talking about. Paranormal beings are energetic feeders, and we are energy in these physical bodies. So we create positive and negative emotions every single day through our life experiences, through situations, through trauma that we go through challenging situations that we just create our trigger emotions. So these beings are attracted to those trigger emotions. And some of us have particular trigger emotions that they just set us off. There'll be a certain situation where we'll just go into either shame, guilt, regret, loneliness, hatred, fear, jealousy. All these emotions are energy and they create a vibration. Now, these paranormal beings are wafting around in our reality constantly. And as human beings, if we build up enough of these particular trigger emotions that we have within us, whether it be mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, or spiritually, we can attract these beings. So it's only a build-up of these emotions that attract these beings. And we become particularly vulnerable by these build-up of this negative energy that's in our bodies, our chakras, meridian lines, etc. Then these paranormal beings can enter through tears in the auric field. And people who are part of lower vibrational activities, so recreational drug taking, alcoholism, hoarding, violence against others, self-harming, anything that creates a lower vibration can attract these beings. So what possession is not? Possession is not the sensationalized things that you see in movies. People's heads do not spin. They do not walk across the ceiling or contort their bodies. They do not vomit up strange objects or speak in tongues. They are designed to create fear, paranoia, to make you scared, to give you that adrenaline rush. So what are the signs and symptoms of possession? So as I mentioned earlier, some demonic level beings gravitate towards particular behaviors or particular trauma within people. They are being manipulated to create negative emotions and enact scenarios to inflict pain on themselves or others, and may sometimes carry out depraved acts. Their behaviors may change to such a degree that you do not recognize them as your friend, your family member, your co-worker. Some people experience extremely erratic sleep patterns, nightmares that are beyond anything that they have ever experienced before. Some demonic beings can influence their hosts to become extremely introverted or egocentric, feeding off the host person's thoughts, emotions, low self-esteem, and their life force. Some of my clients have even experienced extreme changes in their eating behaviours. One lady was eating so much food that she was physically making herself vomit, and normally she eats very light, healthy foods. She was gorging herself on pizza and pavlovas and hamburgers and eating all the wrong food. And by eating all the wrong food, she was creating all these emotions that these demonic beings were then feeding off within her. So her vulnerability was food. There are other clients that I have worked with where their vulnerability is around their sexual behaviours. They may have experienced trauma through their sexual interactions in the past, and within themselves, in their mind, they have these sexual issues that are then preyed on by these particular demonic beings that are drawn to sexual behaviours. I have other clients that have experienced really extreme, dramatic spiritual experiences that have taken them down a path that has led them into really detrimental behaviours, because spirituality is their vulnerability. So these beings, these demonic level beings, know how to trigger us. Some people are triggered physically by these beings. I find that they will particularly affect me. If I'm about to start a job with a client, I go through an extreme amount of procrastination. My OCD behaviours will be ramped right up to the max, and I have trouble with my legs and walking and all these sorts of things. They use these tactics because they know that I'm vulnerable in those areas. They use these tactics to try and throw me off the job. So one of the other signs and symptoms to be aware of is if a person's personality changes. The way that they carry themselves, the way that they interact with you, their body language may be different. Depends on which level the demonic beings have infiltrated the person and where their trigger emotions are. But quite often people will say things that are totally out of character. I have one client who had someone say something to her that was so repulsive that she was like, this is not my family member. This is just not my family member. And when she messaged me and she told me what this person said, and she said, look, this is just so totally out of character, and it's only been since this person had an interaction with someone else who was mentally unwell at the time, and then this other person's behavior started to change. So when people give me this information, I'm doing the detective work up here, and I'm seeing and feeling, especially if I look at a picture of the person, I'm like, yep, there's something there that shouldn't be there. So behavior changes, the way people carry themselves, the words that they use, their physical behaviors as well. I have one client whose partner became particularly, I want to use the word dangerous, became particularly dangerous when it came to sexual intimacy. This person was exhibiting sexual behaviors that were not something that would normally occur between them. And it wasn't fun and it wasn't sexy. It was actually really uncomfortable, and it made her feel really unwell. And when she messaged me and she had his permission to do an energy clearing, I found some beings that had attached to him through some sexual trauma that he had experienced from childhood. Now, he hadn't been to see a mental health professional to help get this problem cleared and to help find a better place within himself when it came to dealing with this particular situation. He just pushed it aside. He pushed that situation aside. He hid it in his psyche so he wouldn't have to deal with it. Something triggered him. We don't know what triggered him, but something triggered him. And then he attracted a being that is attached to sexual behaviors. And these beings can manipulate people if they're vulnerable when it comes to sexual behaviors. If it's something that they're vulnerable with, I get all nervous talking about this stuff because it's really uncomfortable to talk about this. But I'm finding more and more clients with these behaviors are messaging me after watching these videos and going, I think I need your help. This is something that's been going on in my life all this time. I didn't know who to talk to. No one would believe me. So I saw my mental health practitioner and she said, I'm fine. I just don't know what to do with this. Demonic beings are real. They are just a heavier vibration of the dark energies. They are attracted to us for particular reasons. If we remove those reasons, they are then no longer attracted to us and will go elsewhere. It is actually as simple as that. I would also like to mention too that some paranormal activities that people go to, if the person has an underlying paranormal addiction, which I wrote about in my new book called The Darkness Around Us. Paranormal addiction is real. I am living proof of it, but I have it under control and it is part of my lifestyle and my work. A lot of people go to paranormal tours, they do seances, they use Ouija boards, they want to invoke something out there to feel, what other beings are around us. That simple invitation by being part of those activities, if the person has an mental or an emotional weakness or they have a paranormal addiction that makes them vulnerable, they're actually opening themselves up to inviting these beings into their personal space. Once you invite them in, they are difficult to get rid of yourself. Because the person is vulnerable, once the being is within their energy field or their physical body, they're just going to start manipulating them and start pushing those buttons that are going to create the negative emotions. Same with watching paranormal movies. If you find that they trigger you and you can't sleep and you feel unwell, then that is your body trying to educate you about, just don't watch these things. I can't watch them anymore. I have enough. I love paranormal movies. Like I was saying before, paranormal addict here. I love watching them, but I can't, because I find that when I go to bed, I'm constantly thinking and thinking and thinking about them. And by the thinking about these beings and having that paranormal addiction as my vulnerability is actually inviting them in, because it's just a door opener. Literally. These oh my gosh. So I just don't watch them anymore. I don't read paranormal books. I don't watch paranormal movies. I don't do paranormal tools anymore. I would love to do a seance, but no, I have enough paranormal beings coming into my house every day looking for transitioning. So I'm a prime example. This is why I can talk about this, because I live it every single day. I know what my triggers are, whether it be emotionally, or through my paranormal addiction, is that I will just avoid doing those particular actions or activities. And then I find that I am much more settled. I have less paranormal activity in my home, and I can just go about my work in a very clear-minded way. So possession is something that can be consciously invoked by people as well. I was actually with out people one night, and we were at a certain haunted location, and one of the people I was with actually openly said, "If there's any demons around, please come and possess me now." And I just stood there horrified. I didn't say anything. I didn't know this person, but I was like, seriously, you are putting that out there into the universe. You are an open doorway to inviting these beings in. So whether it's through stupid things like that people say, or whether it's through part of being in satanic rituals or using black magic, or it can just be some of the other things that I've talked about today, like the mental emotional traumas that people go through that attract these paranormal beings, especially the high level paranormal beings. So you want to know how tricky these beings can be to work with. They are very manipulative. They don't like being removed from people's personal space. They are there for a reason. They want to keep feeding off the lower vibrational emotions the person is creating, because that is their food source. And they don't like people like me coming along, being professionally employed to clear the client of all trauma and emotional imprints, any past life issues, any limiting beliefs that may be the triggers for these beings to be there. It's what they feed off. So they will try to stop me in a number of ways. I find that the night before I'm due to start a job, now this can be a personal job or I'm working on house clearing, they will interrupt my sleep. They will attempt to interrupt my sleep with nightmares. They will push, poke and prod me in bed to the stage where I just get up and I will just do a clearing of whatever's in my home, because I cannot sleep. This is what it's like to do this sort of work. It's not fun. It's not cool. It's not like, yeah, I want to do paranormal clearing work. It is hard work. And these beings do not suffer fools. You have to be really strong mentally and emotionally to deal with them. They do not like people who work in ego. They will strike you down pretty quick with psychic attack, psychic cords. They have all sorts of tactics. This is not a job for the faint-hearted. I'm just naturally good at doing this work. I think I've done this work for many, many lifetimes, if you believe in past lives. It is just something that I do naturally. But I find it is so worthwhile. I get messages from my clients and they're like, wow, you have made such a change in my life. I can't believe what was there. And now I feel clean and clear and lighter and brighter. feel like my old self again. And to me, that is the best thing that can happen for someone, is to get back to their normal state of being. And then once they have an idea of what their trigger emotions are, I'll outlay that in their report, that particular emotions that keep popping up. You know, what were these situations that happened, 8 years ago, 8 weeks ago? What caused that? And then the client goes, yeah, there's a particular thing that I feel really triggers me. That's when you go and you work with your mental health professional around finding strategies and tools and ways to work through difficult situations, so that these paranormal beings that are around us all the time, they don't come from hell. They are literally in the earth environment. Okay? Hell is the devil's headquarters. Literally. It is just an office. It is just a place where they go to hang out. All right? People don't go there. That's a topic for another video. But these beings are around us all the time. And I know, because I've only got to create one of my trigger emotions and I can feel them coming already. And I'm like, okay, I've done it again. Right, I've got to work on not letting that situation trigger me. To my clients, strongly suggest that they see a mental health professional afterwards to work through the experiences, to clear the memories, to work through it in their body and to release it. I've released the energetic blockages, the energetic side of it. Then the person needs to take ownership of that and go, yeah, okay, so I'm still being triggered by that situation that happened 8 years ago. I know exactly what the situation is. See a medical professional that can support and help you to work through that, so you don't then attract paranormal beings again, because you've still created that vibration. So I hope you have gained some insightful information today about what possession is and what it is not, and what are some of the signs and symptoms to be aware of when people's behavior on all those levels that I mentioned, when things change suddenly. Okay, it's just something to observe and be aware of. And if you're concerned, take the person to their doctor. Take them to see a mental health professional. If those come back clear, then seek out an energy worker that is going to be able to help clear those paranormal beings. Okay, really, really important that people approach this type of work in a holistic way. All right, so if you like what I talk about, there's a lot more videos on my channel. I have a whole playlist about paranormal beings. I am updating and sharing information all the time. When I learn about it, you will also learn about it too, because there's nothing written about this anywhere in the way that I talk about paranormal beings. It's all fear-based, it's all the adrenaline rush, and what does that do? Just creates more low vibrational emotions in people that then attracts the beings. Okay, stay safe, look after each other, and I will see you again soon. Bye.